This is VH perfection. What do you say, Dave?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, the background vocals are heavenly. Alex's drumming on this whole album.
Oh, yeah. He's
like
out of control.
A1. He is like the secret sauce.
Yep.
The secret weapon
Good
on this album.
Good
right?
way to put
I mean,
it. Yep.
song after song, he is just, I don't want to say he's leading the way, because Ed's leading the way.
Yeah, yeah.
But, man, he is just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd argue, and I never really thought about it, had an appreciation until we interviewed Martin Popoff for his book that just came out. And he has like the top 20 Alex Van Halen drum moments.
Yep.
And like a quarter of them are from this album.
Yep, that's
true.
true.
And I was like, man,
it's true.
He is right.
Yeah.
It is arguably Al's finest hour.
Oh, yeah.
This album.
I will
and
definitely,
this song is an excellent example of that. And you're right. The Ed solo, the layering of it is heavenly. I mean, Dan, I've known you a long time, and I have a very distinct memory of us blaring this song in the apartment, you and I playing air guitar,
That's
each taking, one part of the solo and playing it.
That's right.
I mean, I don't have any memories of us studying, but I have a memory of that, right?
Well, most of the studying was usually outside in the library,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but this song definitely is like it's in my top Van Halen songs of all time.
Yeah.
Top, deep album track. I mean, it cuts out too soon.
Yeah.
Because like I'm begging for more.
Oh God.
But that was the genius of Van Halen. Like they never, especially in the Dave era, they never let anything go too long.
No.
So that song for me is always a highlight of the album. I could listen to it all the live long day.
Yeah, me too. And there's two things I like to say. Number one, I want to credit Don Landy, who worked heavily with Ed on that song to make it great and what it is. And actually, Eddie credited him that in a Guitar World magazine article. I also want to note that classic rock radio in New York, every once in a while, you get a smart DJ. He or she will throw this on the radio, and this really is, I would say, a true Van Halen fan, and I mean ones that listen to this podcast, people who are real hardcores, okay? This has got to be one of the top 5 best album tracks. It's got to be. So it's really got a class to it in and of itself. We are on to another classic. And Dave said it before, and we're going to have to say it again. Alex Van Halen is leading the way here on Hot for Teacher. There is not a drummer in the world that doesn't try to imitate him here. This masterful drum intro on Hot for Teacher. Some people don't even know how he did it. And there are people who are questioning how he did it.
I think there's some overdubbing there. I think it's almost impossible he's playing all that at the same time.
Right, yeah. So. Yeah, but he does reproduce it live, and I don't know how he does that. But the fourth single came in at number 56 on the chart, which I thought was a little surprising, despite the video's popularity. I mean, that video was unbelievably popular. Crazy.
I always say the same thing because that video was all over the place, and that song was on the radio too.
And Dave,
but I guess maybe it was like
that song's on the radio,
right? But I guess maybe it was it was a New York thing, and maybe it wasn't played.
Maybe. And released very late in the game. It was released in the fall of 1984. So the brothers take control of this track for a full almost minute before Dave even gets involved. So it's all Ed and Al, and of course Mikey, we wove it in there. This song is like a fine wine. It gets better with age. The band is smoking here. They're doing their best ZZ Top impersonation, and they're making it sort of like a fast shuffle. and it never gets boring, despite its length, and it's the longest song on the album at 4 minutes and 42 seconds, which in today's world is not long, but back in '84 that was long. This is before Paradise City broke the barrier. And Roth interjects his colorful humor. Another perfect example of Roth and Eddie pairing up and just making a song perfect, because Eddie's music and layering and all the great stuff, and then Roth comes right out on top and just puts this incredible whipped cream on top that is just perfectly coincides with everything. His humor is full of color, and it's why it makes Van Halen stand out amongst all of the other bands. It really does. This song is such a harbinger for so many bands as a watermark to reach, because not only is the band playing their ass off, but there's humor, there's personality involved. I brought my pencil. There's so many lines that people quote from this song. People go crazy for this song. This is what sets them apart of so many different bands. It is really just a tremendous, tremendous tune. What do you make of this one, Dave?
Oh, yeah. When you said boogie, it's definitely got the boogie going.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And I'm not talking like the Jacksons blame it on the boogie.
No.
I'm talking like rock and roll boogie. Mm-hmm. The song definitely gets its inspiration from Parchment Farm by Cactus.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Van Halen was known to be big Cactus fans back in the day. So you could certainly hear similarities in terms of style and tempo and things like that. I mean, and Van Halen always, this wasn't their only boogie song.
Right.
I'm the One is another great example.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And there's a few others in the catalog. But this is the one, and I'll go back to quoting
Sinner Swing's another, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go back to what Martin Popoff had said. Again, he refers to some songs as OTT, over the top.
Yep.
And I know Martin's not a big fan of the OTT, but he did give props to this one. Right. And this is certainly Van Halen's best example of OTT.
Yep.
And having it work.
Right.
I mean, just full throttle boogie. Roth is talking a lot during this song.
Oh, yeah.
And you may even be thinking, man, he is really getting lazy. But there's a genius.
Yeah. Here's the difference. Here's the difference.
Right?
Yeah, the difference.
Yeah.
This here is the difference between Dave and Sam. When Dave does, so I would say this is a little similar in terms of style to Everybody Wants Some, where Dave has a little space and he plays with it, and Eddie leaves Dave a little pocket in there before he comes roaring back in. And Dave knows how to play it. Sam, he doesn't do so well in that department. Hey, waitress, take an order, man! I think that's not going to cut it, you know.
Right. I mean, talk about knowing your audience, right? Yeah. I mean, Dave, when you're 13 and 14 and you hear this, you're like, oh, God. You know what? He gets it.
Yeah. No,
he gets it.
He gets it.
He understands.
No, he totally gets it.
Right.
And,
so,
that's for sure.
I mean, genius back then. I mean, now when you hear it in concert, you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm in my 40s now. It doesn't kind of have the same attraction it used to.
It's still fun,
lyrically,
though, yeah.
You know,
still fun.
But musically, you cannot take away. I mean, and Ed's solo, of course,
right.
is just,
oh God, forget it.
Is just phenomenal. So another, you know, you start, back when albums had two sides, you're starting off the second side with this song, and, you know, boom.
And you're taking off, and who can forget the unbelievable video filmed at John Marshall High School? Who can forget Eddie walking across the library tables doing that solo? The teacher walking in, ripping off her clothes, dancing. I mean, this would never happen today. With all the little kids, a little Van Halen. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was
classic video.
Yeah,
classic video.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah. And also, like, there is a confidence that Roth exudes here that comes off like and Ed's playing, on this recording, he's playing his 1956 Gibson Flying V, and it sounds so good. And this is a concert centerpiece anytime they play. And the ending came from their club days with the song Voodoo Queen, which they lifted the ending from. So, the classic ending. ending, which is unbelievable. And can't say enough about this tune. So we are on to I'll Wait, probably one of the most controversial songs of the album. This was the second single because Jump was so hot. They said, we got to release the second keyboard track. Came in at number 13 on the charts. This song is so underrated. And let me tell you, as I get older and the more I hear this song, New York radio where I live plays this a lot. What a brilliantly haunting track this is. It is a more sophisticated song than Jump, and there is an incredible lyric there and melody. Definitely more of a finer wine than what they've done with Hagar. Alex, again, like you said, almost the MVP of this album. Of course, you can't take that away from Ed, but Alex, just the secret sauce, best way that you put it. He makes this song pop with his peppy, sharp drumming here. It is Roth's melody and storyteller lyrics that make it also work. It was inspired by a female from a men's underwear in a Calvin Klein ad, believe it or not. Dave's got a wild brain, we all know that. And Ed's guitar doesn't kick in until 2 minutes and 48 seconds in. But when he does, wait for that solo because it is so signature and memorable. And it only lasts till 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but it's worth the wait. One thing that's surprising about this song was no video. I couldn't believe it. The only thing I'm thinking is they didn't have enough time because they wanted to get a second single out so fast.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
And as we all know, this was co-written with Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers, who worked heavily with producer Ted Templeman, with the Doobie Brothers. He was brought in to help finish the song. And apparently, Ted hated this song, and he used to torture Ed about it. This is part of my research. He used to torture Ed about it, and the way he used to piss Ed off was whenever Ed was working on I'll Wait, he'd walk around singing Argent's Hold Your Head Up. And it would piss Ed off because Ed demands that the song sounds nothing like that.